Good old Snowdin. So, the previous version that I had of Snowdin was really bad. And the idea behind it was that I would just hide all the details behind fog and basically make it so it looked like a blizzard. And yeah, sure, that's a pretty neat idea, so I don't have to model loads of stuff. But overall, everything looked flat, didn't look interesting. And what ended up happening was I showed a little bit of a demo off to a couple of people on stream about the old version of Snowdin, and memes responded. The resident Canadian responded and was like, "This sucks. This sucks. Just redo it. Just do it better." And and to say I took that not exactly personally, but I took it to heart and was like, "No, you're right. I need to do this and make it better." So this is the new version of Snowdin that we've shown off in some of the new stuff. The thing that makes this work is the snow material. I got it from like Blender Marketplace, I think it was, and it makes everything look so much better. It actually looks like snow and blends models together, so I can do like snow dunes and stuff pretty easy. Um, we still have the fog in here, but it's actually made brighter instead of like very dark, and you can see a lot further uh, through it instead of cutting it off early. And then a lot of these other assets are from like different places. Like I think the trees are from like Miku game or something like that. I can't remember. Um, and then we've got some of these other assets like the bushes and rocks. Those are from a small asset pack that I got on Sketchfab that I bought, and overall just throwing them around with a bit of grass from Dark Souls that I edited again, a little bit like the same grass. Funny enough, that I used in the waterfall update. So it's just all Dark Souls grass and just edited in Photoshop, and then some crystals all over the place for a little bit of color. Really helped just bring everything together. And then I've then taken some other assets here, like the 2D planes for trees, and just layered them up all over the place. The idea being that this should look a lot more expansive and a lot more visually impressive. We've got a load of 2D textured trees and other assets that are slapped down around here, like mountains and stuff, to make it look so much more expansive, including like plunge pools from the waterfall here that go down and then go down again and follow a river round. And while I didn't necessarily need to make all this detail, it adds that believability, especially depending on which shots I do. So you'd be able to see all this like background detail, but it means that I'm not having to render out too much more than what's actually visible here at the moment. Like we've got the sentry stations. I'm trying to control the speed of the mouse here. There we go. We got a little bit of height fog going on that I need to include in like other areas to make it look a little bit more cold. Um, some of these assets for like the signs I need to change just a little bit to include the same dialogue on them from the ruins, or like it's the same style. It's the ancient Hylian text that I've been using in like every other area. We go out over this big waterfall, which comes from all the way down near the door there, and we just go out and follow what essentially is Undertale Yellow's route for the river. I was gonna do all of Yellow's lower Snowdin, I suppose you could call it. I was gonna do that all the way down there as like a very primitive block out, so you could follow the geometry along and actually sort of recognize it and be like, oh, wait a minute, so he's got Undertale Yellow's version of Snowdin in here as well, and that would have been really cool, but I just decided not to because it was kind of really unnecessary detail. Um, a lot of this heavy like detailing, like with the trees and foliage being at different areas, different distances away from each other, different rotation, and different scale. That's all done with geometry nodes again. I've been really abusing geometry nodes in this project. Um, for the sentry areas, we've got a 3D modeled dog emblem here that I made, and then a BRB sign because we don't actually have Doggo as a model for the project, and I don't think we will properly get a good one. I'm not too sure. So for the time being, at this point anyway, Doggo is just away. He's going finding more dog treats to smoke. As you can see, we go down here, and what I've done is I've just added a giant snowbank here to make sense of how you would go down through the level and progress to the lower section. The idea and the whole concept that this was sold to me as by memes was memes just said just make it go down towards Snowdin town, and I was like, okay, that's something I can work with. So the idea being that Snowdin Forest and Snowdin Road, I think it's called, it's just absolutely full of areas where the snow is just built up. And the funny thing is, it's the same assets that I use for the snow dunes. I've just varied the scale of them to make it look as though there's like snow building up in certain areas. Then we've got some ice here, of which, if I remember rightly, that asset is from like Fortnite or something. I swear the actual, not the shader, but the model is from like Fortnite. I can't remember properly. Here's where I find out it is, and I just start laughing. Again, for like blending in materials, this snow material is fantastic. You can see it here working on the snowman pretty nicely. Can't remember whether that model's from like Roblox or whatever, but I do like the snowman though. He looks like he just blends into the snow quite nicely there at the bottom. And then we've got all this, again, the same detail. You can see it off in the distance from almost anywhere. It looks pretty nice. We can keep going down. We've got an ice creams area, of which this is the invisible electric maze. That's going to be fun. Reanimating that section, because I had that done in like a really early build. We've got like the rock plateau going down here, or this rocky area going down. We've got a little bit of build-up of snow in it here and there. And then as you get down here, you just kind of drop down. You get all these little crystals and rocks and everything all over the place. Oh, that's not rendering correctly because I'm getting too close to it. This is an asset that I ended up making literally ages ago. I made that all by hand. So I really enjoyed that. Let me go along here. You can see like everything popping out. We've got the golf course here. I need to put in the flag there. And then we've got his and her sentry areas over here. And then we keep going down. You can see all the again the build up of snow. I've not put the puzzles, like the puzzle sections in yet. You know, the different individual ones that you'd find in each area that might glow from like a distance. I decided to wait on that and see like what frame rate I was getting before I added those. So I'm going to be adding them in at some point, just not yet. We've got the pasta there on the table and the microwave next to the mouse hole, and then we've got another plateau that goes up. The idea was I wanted to vary this a little bit, so it's all been going down until now, and I just had this one go up, and it made it a little bit more interesting. Again, all these cliffs were basically sculpted by me and then done in like low poly. That's the puzzle that allows you to press the switch that brings you down here, I think, towards the dog couples area. This is where they're going to be. And then we go down yet again, down another set of rocks with a bunch of snow on them. And we end up at the puzzle that's like Papyrus's face. Or it looks like Papyrus's face. And then we go past all these literal Sonic 06 spike traps. And then that's where we get to the bit where it's the multicolored area that ends up being, I think, red and pink. You just walk on through. I've reused the Metaton model because it looks like the computer that's used there. I just like the way that the orange looks against the snow. It looks really nice. And then we got the Snow Dog area, of which the models here blend quite nicely with the snow because of the material just working well with each other. Like it's strange. I don't know how it works, but like I'm really happy that it does so much heavy lifting when it comes to me just slapping the material on on different models and it just instantly works and allows me to make everything look as though it's merged together quite nicely. But yeah, this is Snow Dog area, and then we go up to here, and here's the what will be the puzzle, the ice puzzle area, where if at any point you mess up, you go flying off and end up down here where Snow Sands and Snow Papyrus are. And then down there, I think, is the cave that you go to later on, and you find Glide, and also it's Toby's room. But this area was really fun to populate with all this sort of like stuff, like the grass and all these crystals. I really did enjoy doing all of this and making it look so much better. Then there's the Snowpuff area, and then the doghouse. And then this is where you fight Greater Dog, and then over here is where we see like the waterfall. This was an idea that I had really early on, and I brought it into this version. Was that the water comes from up in different areas in the mountain, and in this area in particular, you've got like the river that goes down there through Lower Snowdin towards the shack at the back, which I'll show you. But there's another area here that drops the water into a plunge pool at the back of Snowdin, which explains the river that goes into Waterfall. But yeah, if we go off into the distance here through all the 2D trees, which you can't tell are 2D because of the distance, we go all the way back here. We can see the actual shed itself, or the shack, is one of the same ones that I've got from town, and I just put a really, really bright light on it, so it gives the same impression that it would in-game. We're over here and we get to see it in the distance. Really, really enjoy that detail so much. So much like details crammed into this. And then we go over the Gauntlet of Deadly Terror, and we end up in Snowdin Town. I really, really like this version. This version is based on models, like building models from Latiprod that did Snowdin HD in VR chat, and I literally just looked at the version of all of the models for like the buildings and stuff, and I spent so long studying them, and then just remaking them myself from scratch. So these are literally just all Latti's designs. I just did them myself by eye, and then textured them up very similarly and applied the snow on like a load of different models there. And then I think I subdivided once to get them to look like this, and then just put the snow on like the roofs and stuff like that. It's not too bad considering the original block was just a square, so it doesn't subdivide too much, but it gives it that nice look. And then in the background, we've got some other homes here that I've dotted around all over the place and put all these trees and rocks in, and tried to kind of vary it a little bit. So there's some on some side of the street, some on the other. And normally we'd see it from like this kind of angle. You'd come through and you'd see the tree and everything, and you'd go through to Grill Bees, and then you got the library, and you'd go up there to the river. And I've tried to keep it roughly the same sort of like layout, but then just add some interesting stuff in the background here, like all these other buildings to make it look a little bit more populated. Then when we come over here, this is normally where you'd see like the slime family, and we also see Ice Wolf over here. And then again, all these assets are just remade like from scratch. We got the library, and the skeleton house, of which I ended up taking the lights that I used for the Temmie shop, like the furry lights, and I just stuck those all over the place. So they're the exact same asset, just repurposed, and then the lights actually change color, like you'd expect them to for like Christmas furry lights. And then we got the shed, and then that's it. It connects to Waterfall after a little bit, so we get the fight with Papyrus just round about here, and we get the ice cavern in here, which is only a very small section of like the beginning of Waterfall. instead of a giant thing that I was originally going for. We link it into the very start of Waterfall. And then the funniest part is that literally the beginning to Waterfall is just a 2D texture. It's I wanted to do it very cheaply, so it's literally just a bitmap image, or a PNG, sorry, of Waterfall that I took from just a render that I took from the uh, the intro part and then just slapped it there, so it connects pretty nicely. Like it doesn't look too bad from like here, and it just needs to be that convincing that like when we get to here and we're rendering, we get to roughly about here, and then we switch over to the other version of Waterfall and just don't show behind, and we should be good for scene transitioning. Out of all of the areas that I made for this project so far, this is the I think the only one that's been made after a character got made, just so I could have them in. And this is the shop, the Snowdin shop, with like all the particles and sections of Snowdin on the outside of it, and then on the inside, I try and making it look nice and warm and cozy, and including stuff like the bandana, some treasure chests, which I think are from like Sea of Thieves or something, the tough gloves, which are just boxing gloves, and then like some books and things from Toriel's place, and then a Deltarune or Legend of Deltarune scroll there on the back wall. And yeah, I just tried to make this as accurate as possible. Again, based off Latty's work from Snowdin HD in VR chat. But yeah, I just tried to do it as accurately as possible to that, while also making the lighting as accurate to the game as possible. So we got this nice little area that does fit inside the actual building itself, which I'm happy about. I didn't have to like mess around with the building at all or anything. It was just it all fit neatly inside, and then I can just have the scene transition to in here by having the door open and close. The door and everything else is like, if I remember rightly, it has glass inside. So it's how you would expect, and we just transition to in here and have the Deltarune explained by the shopkeeper, which I'm gonna place behind the desk here like normal. But a lot of these assets are brought over from like Toriel's place, and then just given a new lick of paint with the new wood details that I've got going on here, and then we've got like the carpet on the floor and the Deltarune rug there. See, I'm really happy with this. This is like whipped up really fast over the course of like I think a week maybe, but it's again it's a nice asset to have on hand, especially when I'm fleshing out bits of the lore by adding in new characters. It's okay. Levitating Frisk can't hurt you. This is the library. This is Martlet's library. The reason why we put Martlet in here is just because we didn't have and I still don't have the librarian. So the idea is that Martlet is playing like the replacement librarian for the time being. We've got a load of like little details in here that are neat, like that one, "Be kind to your mind," and then having the Essentials of Woodwork by Chujin from Yellow, and it was just nice getting another Yellow character in here because we've already got like Soroba in here. But we got all the books and everything. Redid the carpet to look accurate compared to the game with all like the hearts and stuff, and then got the tea cozy from Baker's. And made that in 3D and give it some actual texture to it. That's pretty cool. We can see outside. I faked this with a wraparound texture because I wanted to save on frame rate. So when we transition in here, it kind of looks a little bit off. I might actually end up like just going and getting a better texture, or alternatively just like actually doing this in 3D because it doesn't really need to save too much on frame rate here at the moment. But either way, I like how this looks. Apart from like Toriel lurking outside here, just like ooh. And then we've got reflections from the glass as well that are really nice, that show off like the interior how you would expect. And then we've got all this little stuff like snow is falling, books are calling. It's a good day to read a book. Some stuff that I just found online to slap in here and make it look like a nice little library. the skeleton's house, when it loads here, is one of the other areas that I think I might end up not using the low poly trick that I used for the exterior of Snowdin, because you can see it's just a wraparound texture again. But I may just actually go ahead and get the proper version of like the close areas nearby and just use those. You can already see little jokes in here, like the fact that I've put in the Reagan artwork from Mob Psycho to reference that whole thing from ages ago. And then, yeah, I've modeled this again all from scratch, based off Latty's work and a few other things. We got the kitchen in here with the dog shrine. Again, a lot of this is borrowed from Toriel, just because it's easy. If I can borrow assets here and there and save me some time, that's going to be good. Remade the carpet from scratch by hand. That was nice, adding some texture to the sofa and everything else, and then doing some references here and there with some of the pictures as we go up the stairs. And then we've got the door into Papyrus's room. The overall artwork here, Sans room, and then I need to replace this door actually because it's not accurate, but that door is the one that leads outside. And Papyrus's room, which is the main part of this that we're going to see because of the date section in here. I've had to mess around with this to make it actually work. But we've got the car bed, of which I just stole like some image of one that was on Amazon. It was literally like this, and just like changed the hue of the image, and then just made the actual bed that was on Amazon in 3D. So Papyrus has an Amazon made bed there. And then we got the carpet again with all the flames on, the pirate flag, and I keep glossing over it or going past it, but actual Digimon stuff here, I couldn't figure out what the monsters or what Papyrus would have here, and instead I was just like, go on, I'll just throw in Digimon. So we've got like various Digimon here that I thought worked with the stuff that's actually positioned in the game. So you have like officially posed Digimon models that actually the same pose as the ones from their own games, but I just put them in the same positions as the monsters that would be there in Undertale. I just thought it was a neat little reference. And then we've got the game theory reference on the side there for anybody that likes that kind of thing. I just thought that would be amusing as well, considering how many game theory references I've made throughout development. And then we've got the same computers, I think, Napster Bluke over here. But yeah, I really like this. It was hard getting all this to look good because of the geometry and everything, like figuring it out in quads. But now that it's done, I'm really enjoying it. I just need to like change the lighting a little bit so there's not shadows absolutely everywhere and that one door. But apart from that, I'm really happy with it. Really happy, even if it does have like a fake outside that goes all the way around, and I've tried to wrap it in such a way that it's not bad. I can't even remember whether the actual house itself fits inside the one in Snowdin. I don't think it does, based off how much Papyrus's room juts out the back. But even if it kind of breaks things a little bit, it's not too bad. It's overall accurate for what it is, including the like the in-game stuff. I just need to include the sock collection, I think, and a couple of other small details. But overall, this is again something I'm really happy with and took quite a long time to pull off correct.